Ring compressors are designed to compress piston rings into the ring grooves so that the piston assembly can be inserted into the cylinder bore. This can be an easy tool to use or it can be challenging. If you follow these steps and pay attention to the tips at the end, installing piston assemblies will be as easy as changing a spark plug. Let's get started. Lubricate the piston skirt, rings, ring grooves, inside walls of the ring compressor, and cylinder walls with clean engine oil. Note the 3 or 4 dimples around one of the edges of the compressor. This edge is intended to go against the cylinder block. The dimples are designed to keep the ring compressor from entering the bore if there is a chamfer at the top. Modern-day engines all feature a chamfer at the top of the bore, though earlier aluminum bore engines did not. Inspect the inside surface of the compressor for nicks or scratches that may damage the rings or piston skirt. Replace the tool if necessary. Turn the engine over until the crank pin is at bottom dead center. Use the cylinder bore as a stage to set up the ring compressor by sliding the assembled piston and rod assembly, rod first, into the cylinder bore. Tap the upper rim of the compressor downward to make sure the layers of the compressor are all against the head gasket surface. Rest the piston assembly on the deck of the cylinder assembly and install the ring compressor over the rings. Tighten the compressor as tight as possible by hand. Make sure you can still turn the compressor on the piston. If not, loosen the compressor slightly. If the piston has a notch or a mark on the crown, orient the piston in the correct direction for the engine being worked on. Make sure the big end of the connecting rod will pass between the crankshaft counterweights. Put a rag over the edge of the compressor to protect the web between your thumb and index finger when you press the piston in with your thumbs. With a firm, steady push, press the piston into the bore. Once you begin pushing, do not let up. Do not hammer or pound the piston in. If the piston sticks, it is usually because a ring has caught on the edge of the cylinder bore. If this occurs, remove the piston assembly, reinstall the compressor, and try again. Here are some tips that may help this process go easier for you. Double-check rings are installed in the correct orientation. If you get the middle ring in upside down, you won't believe the amount of smoke you get from the exhaust. Stagger the ring end gaps if you want to, but it's not required. As soon as the engine begins to run, the rings will rotate around the piston due to engine harmonics. If you tighten the compressor and it seems to unwind a small amount before you remove the key, tighten the screw on the compressor body. This will stop it from slipping. Lubrication is the key to making this an easy job. Everything the rings and piston body contact must be well oiled. Some technicians dunk the entire head of the piston in a bucket of clean oil before they begin. If you are uncomfortable using your thumbs to push the piston into the bore, use a hammer handle or piece of wood. Hold the ring compressor with one hand against the cylinder block while you press down hard and fast on top of the piston with the other. Once you begin pushing, don't hesitate. Do not hammer the piston into the bore. If the ring pops out of the compressor and catches on the edge of the bore, the ring can bend or twist quite easily. Modern-day ring sets are much thinner than they have been in the past and are more easily damaged. Rings are expected to turn in their grooves while the engine runs. This action helps keep the groove clean from carbon buildup. A bent or twisted ring will bind in the groove and not rotate. Always use a ring expander when installing rings. Old rings being replaced can be spread with the fingers and removed. New rings are easily damaged by this approach and should only be spread for installation by a ring expander. In this industry, most of us will need a ring compressor infrequently, so we seldomly have the chance to get good at using it. However, when we do need one, being able to use it effectively is important. If you can remember no hammers and use lots of oil, you should be just fine.